Have you ever wondered what a real war looks like on a miniature scale? Forget tiny toy soldiers. Today, we're diving into the brutal, savage, and absolutely epic world of ant warfare. This isn't just a squabble over a breadcrumb. This is a life-or-death struggle for survival, territory, and the very future of the colony. Picture this. Two massive armies, hundreds of thousands strong, clashing in a desperate battle. On one side, the aggressive and expansionist Argentine ants, known for forming super colonies that can stretch for miles. On the other, the native fire ants, fierce defenders of their home turf. The battlefield is a seemingly peaceful patch of land, but beneath the blades of grass, a massacre is unfolding. The air is thick with the scent of formic acid, the ants' chemical weapon of choice. It's a chaotic scene of tangled limbs, locked jaws, and twitching bodies. Argentine ant soldiers, sleek and dark, swarm over the larger reddish fire ants, trying to overwhelm them with sheer numbers. They bite. They spray acid. They try to dismember their enemies piece by piece. But the fire ants are not easily defeated. They are formidable warriors, equipped with a powerful venomous sting that can paralyze and kill. A single fire ant can take down several Argentine invaders before succumbing to its wounds. They fight with a desperate ferocity, defending their queen and the next generation of their colony. You can see them grabbing their opponents, flipping them over, and delivering that fatal sting. It's a gruesome ballet of violence. What triggers such a massive conflict? It's often a simple border dispute. An Argentine ant foraging party might stumble into fire ant territory. A skirmish breaks out. Chemical signals are released, alarm pheromones that scream invaders. Two arms, within minutes. Reinforcements from both sides pour into the contested zone, and the skirmish escalates into a full-blown war. The strategies they use are surprisingly complex. The Argentine ants rely on a shock and awe tactic. They send wave after wave of expendable workers to overwhelm the enemy's front lines. Their goal is to exhaust the defenders, break their formation, and push deeper into enemy territory. They are relentless, a living tide of black that seems to have no end. The fire ants, on the other hand, employ more defensive tactics. They establish fortified positions around their nest entrance. Larger soldiers. The majors act as living tanks, using their massive heads and mandibles to block tunnels and decapitate any enemy that gets too close. They fight a war of attrition, hoping to inflict enough casualties to make the invasion too costly for the Argentines to continue. Look closely at the battlefield. It's littered with the dead and dying. Wounded soldiers drag themselves away from the front lines, missing legs, antennae, or even parts of their abdomen. You'll see ants carrying their fallen comrades back to the nest, though it's unclear if this is an act of rescue or simply to recycle their bodies as food. In the brutal economy of the ant world, nothing goes to waste. The ultimate prize in this war is the enemy's brood, the precious eggs, larvae, and pupae. If the invaders can reach the nursery chambers, it's game over. They will slaughter the helpless young and even the enemy queen. Capturing the brood not only cripples the enemy's ability to replenish its army but also provides a massive protein boost for the victorious colony. It's a strategy as old as war itself. Destroy the future to secure your own. We often see ants as simple, mindless creatures, but these wars show a different side. They reveal a complex social structure, sophisticated communication, and a level of organized violence that rivals anything in the animal kingdom. Each ant is a soldier, programmed by millions of years of evolution to sacrifice itself for the good of the colony. There's no concept of fear, no retreat, only the biological imperative to fight and win. Let's zoom out from the individual duels and look at the battle's progression. The front line is a dynamic, shifting entity. The Argentines might gain ground in one area, only to be pushed back by a fierce fire ant counterattack in another. They use the terrain to their advantage, fighting from cracks in the soil, using pebbles as cover, and creating bottlenecks to funnel their enemies into kill zones. Communication is key. Ants are constantly touching antennae, exchanging chemical information about the enemy's location, strength, and vulnerabilities. A scout that finds a weak point in the enemy's defense will lay down a pheromone trail, guiding a column of warriors to exploit the opening. It's a decentralized command structure that is incredibly efficient and resilient. Even if thousands are killed, the army as a whole continues to function. The war can last for hours, even days. The ground becomes stained with the fluids of the fallen. Piles of corpses accumulate, creating gruesome monuments to the battle's ferocity. The cost is immense for both sides. Colonies can be completely wiped out. A victorious army might be so depleted that it becomes vulnerable to another rival colony or a sudden environmental change. In the world of ants, victory is often just a temporary reprieve from the constant struggle for existence. As the battle rages, let's consider the stakes. For the fire ants, they are fighting for their home, their family, their very existence. If they lose, their entire genetic line could be extinguished from this area. For the Argentine ants, this is a war of conquest. Every new territory they conquer allows their super colony to expand, to gather more resources, and to become even more dominant. They are an invasive species in many parts of the world, and this is how they spread, through relentless, organized warfare. Imagine the sounds of this battle scaled up to our size. The clicking and snapping of mandibles, the hiss of formic acid spray, the collective shriek of thousands of tiny warriors. It would be terrifying. It's a silent, hidden world, but it's as dramatic and consequential as any human conflict. As the day ends, one side may begin to gain a decisive advantage. Perhaps the fire ant defenders are finally exhausted, their numbers dwindling, their venom sacs running dry. The Argentine tide pours over them, breaking through the last lines of defense and storming the entrances to the nest. The final, most brutal phase of the war begins inside the dark, claustrophobic tunnels of the fire ant colony. Inside, the fighting is even more desperate. The fire ants make their last stand, defending the queen's chamber and the precious brood. it, but the sheer number of invaders is too much. The queen is overwhelmed and killed. The brood is carried off as spoils of war. The fire ant colony, a complex society that may have thrived for years, ceases to exist in a matter of hours. The Argentine ants have won. They will occupy the newly conquered territory, consume the captured brood, and use the resources to fuel their own colony's growth. Soon, their scouts will push out again, searching for the borders of the next neighboring colony, and the cycle of war will begin anew. It's a stark reminder that nature, for all its beauty, is an unforgiving place. These ant wars are a perfect example of natural selection in action. The strongest, the most organized, and sometimes the most ruthless colonies are the ones that survive and pass on their genes. It's not about good or evil, it's about survival. So the next time you see a line of ants marching across your patio, remember the epic dramas playing out right under your feet. You're not just looking at insects. You're looking at soldiers, engineers, and citizens of a vast and ancient empire, constantly fighting for their place in the world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the savage world of ant warfare. It's a fascinating and brutal part of the natural world we rarely get to see. If you found this as incredible as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the hidden corners of our planet. See you in the next one.